What's going on, everybody? It's Ice and welcome back to another video. In the background today I've just got some Resurgence because, as you saw in the title, we're gonna be talking about Warzone 2. I don't know why this hasn't been like this. Nobody seems to have noticed this yet. As of right now it's Wednesday, shortly after the release of the multiplayer reveal trailer, and I can't help but notice they talk about Warzone Pacific. They don't say Warzone, and they don't say new map in Warzone. They're saying Warzone Pacific. And they also mentioned that it's going to be running off of the Vanguard engine, or I'm assuming he probably meant to say the Vanguard client, which means we won't any longer have to have like Modern Warfare reboot in order to run Warzone. So I would imagine it's going to be connected into Vanguard. Again, like, I don't know how this isn't talked about, because like that's a movement change. That's like going to be a change in how the guns feel, like the jumping, like everything. Like, I mean, it'll change everything. And it makes sense for a number of reasons. One, I'm sure many of you already know that there are a lot of guns in Warzone. And adding another 50 it's only going to expand the pile even further, and it's already at a point now where there's just so much stuff in the game that you almost have to go out and buy a new hard drive or like fill up your entire console in order to like satisfy the needs of the free download game. So I think that that's going to be a good move. It'll also be an opportunity for them to get a little bit more creative. I like a lot of what we've seen so far. So I hope that continues. What I mean by that, for example, is the new map looks so much better than Verdansk. It's colorful. It looks like there's not as many buildings. For example, we have nothing like downtown as far as I can see, which thank God, because that's an absolute mess. You can't even walk through there. So it looks like there's going to be a lot more battles in the open, a lot more focus on like smarter rotations rather than just like, you know, getting a vehicle and just chugging straight into somebody. I
think they're fighting right now.
Or, you know, waiting for people to get trapped, or, you know, all sorts of nonsense. As you guys know, I'm not a huge fan of Warzone in the first place. That's actually why, partly, I have Resurgence in the background here. For me, there's just a lot of major problems that annoy me quite a bit. And being able to like respawn and kind of like almost dodge or like account for the losses that I would have from just like deaths that, you know, maybe, you know, aren't fully earned. Like being able to respawn, I think you can increase the skill gap with that, therefore giving me, you know, a better chance to, you know, survive instead of, you know, like one of my teammates dies and I find myself in a 1v, you know, a 1v3 against Timmy and his dad and cousin. So basically I wanted to kind of cover like some of the things that I think would be good to change. So first off, I think the thing that I think would make the biggest difference in making Warzone just like a better game than it is already would be changing the way that the circles work. So what I mean by that is now you can't even be in there for more than, you know, a handful of seconds before you start taking health damage. And even the very first circle, it does so much health damage that, you know, you're not going to be out there for very long. And the reason that matters is it forces you to kind of do things that you maybe wouldn't do if you were able to stay in the gas for longer. So if you're, you know, if you're stuck around a building and you have a gas, even if you have a gas mask, you know, if you're stuck around a building and the gas is coming, you've got a full squad on one side, you don't really have the option to go around the other side and make them think about something else. You kind of just have to go out into them. And that can happen for a number of reasons, like just late rotation where, you know, maybe it's your fault, or, you know, maybe you get caught in a gunfight and somebody tries to hold you back in third party. Maybe somebody else rotated at the very beginning of the circle and you're just kind of out of luck. you know, or any number of things. I think that they could definitely, and this is something that they've already done, it seems anyway, have a lot less buildings and a lot less
People might be going
rooms, I should say, with like one entrance. A lot less areas with like one entrance. So that's like a major problem within Verdansk, I think, where like many of these places have 2 doors. So there's no way you're going to really surprise them. And especially if you look at like the upstairs on a lot of these buildings, they have 1 stairway in these small buildings. And you can either, you know, pull a truck up, jump off the roof of the truck and into the window, which is like, you know, going to be pretty obvious anyway. Or you can go up the stairs that they're going to probably be at the top behind the stairwell aimed at you anyway. And maybe you can throw a flash and make it easy, or a stun and make it a little bit easier, but like it's still just, you know, not advised. Another thing that they can do is getting rid of the way that Ghosts works currently. You can just sit still and do absolutely nothing and be completely covered. And I think that that's a major flaw. It forces people to stay still, and in today's version of Warzone, even my thoughts about it were like, you know, just do something about it. Like make a UAV swipe every minute or something, just to make people move. Because instead, you've got all these people that get Ghosts on their first loadout, and they can just sit wherever they want for the rest of the game. And it seems like in multiplayer they're going to do that, so I hope that that's something that carries over to Warzone. Another huge thing is going to be the footsteps. I've also heard good things about this one, being the footstep audio is low, which is awesome. I'm hoping there's less doors as well, because, so for example, in today's Warzone, if you go to push a building, if you have no dead silence, you're going to be really loud and they're going to know about you coming anyway. If you have dead silence, even if you have dead silence, I should say, if all the doors are closed, you're still going to have to make some noise in order to go up to greet them. And I think that that just enables people to sit and do nothing. You know, and that's why you have all these people that have no ability whatsoever, you know, winning games. And I think that it's good that we make it to where it's possible, but
don't get down again.
The fact that you can just be like worlds better than someone and lose a gunfight just because of, you know, stuff like that is kind of stupid. And especially when you get good players playing like that, then it just gets even worse, because, you know, if a guy with a 3 KD is sitting upstairs of airport control tower and he wants to stay there until the circle closes, he's probably going to be able to stay there until the circle closes, you know? So that's just one of those things I would like to see go. So hopefully those footstep audio are low, and that would, 1, make it less important to have dead silence, and 2, force people to move around a little bit more, because it's going to be easy to sneak up on you. And secondly, like decreasing the importance of dead silence is going to be a good thing with that as well. And speaking of importance of things, the silencers. I think that getting more diversity in what classes you can run and be successful with is going to be something else that's huge. And it seems like now, it looks like we've got like 10... I don't know if you have to run like a perk or something to be able to do it, but it seems like right now you can just at stock, like at base, instead of having 5 attachments, you can have 10. Which is going to make the customizability insane for Warzone. You're going to be able to pretty much do whatever you want. I think that that's going to be a balancing nightmare. I commend them for trying it, but like I just I'm worried about how that's going to work. I feel like with 5 attachments, we already have issues where, you know, you can make any gun in the game an absolute laser. So obviously you just pick the guns with the most damage. Like, I mean, even, you know, we had it for a while where we had the AMAX and we just ran it with a full recoil control build, and we had a blast with that, and we had the PKM for a time, and we had a couple LMGs actually. I think even now people are still using the Stoner, and then now we're having like a super beam meta where we saw like the Growl previously, and now we have you know, we had the Bruin after that, and then now we're having the Farah and the Krig, and it looks like we're gonna go back to the Farah now. So I think that that's gonna be another good thing. If we can make silencers less important because of the way things are going to work, if we can make classes more diverse and more changeable, and it looks like that's going to be something that's going to be done as well. So like you can change the ammo types on everything, you can change the grips on everything, you can put the sights different on everything. Yeah, so a bunch of super cool stuff. I'm just hoping that somehow, some way they prove me wrong and they actually manage to balance all of that. I think back to the beginning of the game when we had Snake Shot. I don't even remember what the pistol was called. Was it a Magnum? 357 or something like that, maybe. But we had the Snake Shots where, you know, it was basically an ammo mod to a pistol where you could have shotgun shells, and it tore everything up in all of the Warzone for, you know, a good amount of time. I don't know if it was months, but it was long enough for sure. And that was all just because of a simple ammo change. So I can't even imagine if that sort of option is on every gun, how they're going to manage to make the time to kills, you know, stack up properly, because, you know, you're going to have to change ranges with every swap. You're going to have to change, you know, rates of fire. You're going to have to change recoil patterns, and that just seems like so much to do. And especially with the state that, you know, Cold War was in upon release, just with COVID. I assume that's why. I know they had a shortened cycle as well, but as far as I understand, Treyarch is a far bigger studio anyway, so I would have expected them to have the least problems with it over Sledgehammer anyway. But, you know, maybe they prove us wrong there, so I hope they've had enough time to do that. But, you know, that's wrapping up our time. That's kind of some of my hopes for this version of Warzone. I just hope that we, essentially, to sum it all up, I hope that we just think through how the game plays a little bit better, and we, you know, support those that are going to actually move around and play the game, rather than somebody that's going to go, you know, sightseeing in the Alps of Verdansk like we have right now. But that's all from me. I will catch you guys in the next one. Everybody have a great one. I will see you next time.
Good shit. Yeah, we just won.